Now, as you go into the Bitcoin and crypto rabbit hole, right, there's something else happening underneath the surface, which is bigger than the crypto revolution that you and I see. And that is decentralized finance or DeFi, DEFI. Now, what DeFi does is that it uses concepts that are similar and the tech that is powering crypto and uses it for far bigger things. So here's the thing, right? While you have cryptocurrencies that are decentralizing money, DeFi does this for the entire financial system. And what this does is that it removes that veil and makes the entire workings of the financial system far more transparent. Now, to speak about this, we have Chandresh Aharwar, the CEO of Unilend, and Raj Gopal Menon, who's the Vice President of Marketing at Wazirex. Gentlemen, thanks for plugging in. It's good to have you join us on this session.
Thanks. Thanks, Ashwin. Great to be on board.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Really glad to be here.
It's good to talk to you, gentlemen, about this. Now, one of the things that is interesting when it comes to the decentralized finance market is right that it's just blown up. It was around 600, 700 million beginning of last year, in the beginning of 2020, and now it's pitted at around close to $16 billion, and that's an explosive growth in multiples. Now, what do you gentlemen reckon are the rock solid reasons that is bolstering the faith of the investment community to be able to, repose their trust in this new technology?
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to correct it slightly. It is 78 billion currently, not
Okay.
16 billion. So yeah, I mean today's figure is really large. So I mean what I feel has happened over the period of time. So we are experiencing technological revolution from Web 2.0 to Web
Mhm.
3.0. And decentralized finance is the complete ecosystem which is driving it from the start. So if we go back in time and look at 2017, at that time CryptoKitties came into the picture, and the blockchain got lot of traction. At that time we didn't have the tools, and scalability was a problem. But what happened this time, that all the tools and the scalability problem was solved with the help of lot of different companies like Polygon, BSC. So it is a shift which is happening over the period of time, and this time we had better tools. So that is why we are able to accommodate so many people into the ecosystem.
Raj.
Yeah, thanks, Ashwin. Nice take, Chandresh. The way I look at it is very fundamentally, what the internet was about transforming media. We had, TV and newspapers beamed to us, and the internet fundamentally changed. It was all about, first people thought, it was nothing, and it started off with media. Now it's all consuming, right? It's transformed every aspect of our lives. This is what DeFi does actually. This is what actually blockchain and Bitcoin brought into our lives. It transformed the financial landscape. Not many people are aware of it, but it is the internet of money. So, if you look at Netscape, what Netscape did, that's what Bitcoin has done. Netscape did to the internet. That's exactly what Bitcoin has done, largely to the financial space. So, what is happening is that once you had Bitcoin, the evolution of Bitcoin had to be Ethereum, which is, you can't do a lot of stuff with Bitcoin because it was created for a particular problem, and it had its own limitations, which is why Vitalik had to build another language and another product or another protocol on top of, Bitcoin, it's inspired by Bitcoin, and he built programmable money. So what DeFi is basically Lego blocks. This idea is so beautiful. You have, and it's completely open source. So, and you build these these Lego blocks, and you just put it together, and voila, you have an entirely new ecosystem and a new product line. So that in a nutshell is what DeFi does. But practically speaking, am I jumping too ahead of time? So what it does is that it transforms economies in a scale that is unimaginable. So the way software is actually eating away a lot of costs. Businesses like Unilend will operate at a fraction of costs at that conventional banking and finance companies operate, which is why it is so transformational. I'll let you ask the next questions because otherwise I'll keep on rambling, Ashwin.
No, that's a good thing to have. There is so much for us to understand about the whole thing, and even for somebody who is invested in financial knowledge and financial awareness, this is absolutely new. This is nowhere evolutionary, right? This is absolutely revolutionary in so many ways. But I know that WazirX has been pushing a lot of boundaries. What fascinates you guys about the DeFi revolution here?
So the founders, Nishal and Siddharth and Samir are, you know, it's more of a, the entire DeFi space, or the Bitcoin space is like a cult. You're a part of a revolution. So the people in it are not in it for money. Money is of course a great bribe or a product to have, but we call ourselves the little foot soldiers of the revolution. So we want to transform lives, and we believe that this is a power for good. Imagine all the aspects of finance. India is lucky. We take a lot of things for granted. The jam package, for example, the Jan Dhan, the Aadhaar, and the Mudra loan package that this government has unleashed. So we take a lot of things for granted which are not there 10 years ago. But a lot of the world is still unbanked, and a lot of people don't have access to basic financial systems. So we might say, what's so great about DeFi? But look at whole of Africa, look at the whole of South America. Lives will get transformed. Look at what has happened in the last 5 years. People, after 70 years, people are getting bank accounts in India because we were relying on conventional methodologies. What DeFi does is that all you need is a smartphone and an internet connection. And what the ultimate aim for all DeFi guys would actually in India would be actually to build a crypto stock on top of the India stack. So that is the ultimate end game, and I'm sure a lot of companies like Uniland will be doing a lot of good work in that aspect.
That's
But
exactly what I
yeah,
wanted to come on to, the next thing, in the sense that the kind of innovation that's happening. But before that, Chandresh, just, I can see Raj's excitement when he's talking about DeFi. But just tell me, what's a good problem that you're working on right now which keeps you awake at night? And what's a terrible problem which keeps you awake at night when it comes to doing everything about DeFi?
Yeah. So, first of all, that like Raj was also coming to the same point that what decentralized finance and the open ecosystem is doing, it is providing opportunity for the complete world to be at the same level. Like he was taking example of Nigeria. Like when we were, in the early stage of our complete revolution, we had a very bigger problem. We didn't have the ecosystem like US may be having, or, other bigger countries who are dominating the space they are having. But with blockchain and with decentralized finance, everyone is getting the similar opportunities. And that is what we also grabbed, and it feels really great that we are building something for the complete global community. There is so much money, so much faith everyone is putting in, and we are able to disrupt not only the users in India, but yeah, like mentioned, Africa, anywhere you are. And we need to be to that level that we are catering to every country, every user. So that is what I feel like slightly a more problematic thing also, but it is better for our business also. I guess, so like with Uniland also, currently you go see, we have 6 7 regional communities, we have users from all over the world. And our documentation also releases in 6 7 different languages. So that is the level we are talking about.
Talking about that, talking about the globe and talking about India, I just want to focus a moment on what's happening in India. One of the things that we keep hearing when we read a lot about decentralized finance is that how it's fostering financial independence. Do you want to just spend a moment to tell me about how it's playing out in India specifically?
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah, let's
so
talk. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point, Chandesh. Let's talk about specific use cases. DeFi is a beautiful word that gets bandied around a lot, but you know what DeFi kya hai? At the end of the day, what is in it? For us, that is a question that Chandesh should answer, and he's the best person to answer.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, first of all, I would say like we are calling it decentralized finance currently, but maybe after some time, this is what will exist, and everyone will call it as finance. So, actually, what DeFi is doing on a higher level currently, like if you are interacting with a bank, or you are interacting with any entity currently, you are dependent on one more party. So there are three parties which are involved in the current ecosystem. And like everyone has the ownership, like they any bank can come and bring up new policies according to them. So customers are not able to realize the full potential, and onboarding processes are also slightly difficult. What decentralized finance has offered, you can imagine cryptocurrencies as an internet money, and you have the complete power. It is no more centralized, it is decentralized. The single entity which was there is out of the focus, and it is permissionless. Like anyone can come, and if I have some idea, I can build it and deploy it on Ethereum. So what decentralized finance does, it allows you the opportunity to take your own decision, own your own money, and ultimately, like take example of Aave Compound and Unilend. We are building a money market lending and borrowing solution. Same solutions were existed in the current ecosystem also, but we are doing it in a decentralized fashion. We are doing it in a permissionless manner. So that makes a whole bigger difference. And what has happened over the period of time, like Compound came up with a concept of liquidity mining. So generally, currently, if you have to raise a money, you need generally needed to go to VC and everything. But with the tokenization of your company, what has happened, that I, as a community member, as a member who sits and don't have those much connections, you will get the opportunity to invest into our protocol from the earlier stage. So I feel like that is what has given an opportunity to a lot of audience, brought everyone to a same playing level. And that is what ultimately we have achieved with more tools and simplified user experience, I would say.
So, this is at a very high level where Chandresh has been able to, extract, his pound of flesh literally out of DeFi. But when you go down to the brass tracks, we are still, let's all be very clear. It's not going to transform lives like immediately. You're not going to see something happening transformational like in the next 6 months or something like that. But very common use cases. What are the, why do we say it's so, financial inclusion? How can DeFi truly do that? If you look at loans, for example, let's just take one case study: loans. Now, if you need a loan, even in conventional banking, they make you run through hoops, literally. You know, so much paperwork, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it is at the discretion of humans. I don't like your face, I don't like your surname, I don't like where you're from. What DeFi does is that it removes that aspect of arbitrariness from the entire system. So, and we all know that the poor have no credit profile, right? And they'll automatically get excluded from the financial system just because they are poor. What DeFi does is that even if you don't have a credit history, you can build your entire credit history from scratch, which is what a lot of countries in Europe are experimenting with. When refugees come to Europe, they don't have any previous credit history. So what you do is that you give them a prepaid card, which is built on a DeFi protocol. You give them fixed amount of money. Okay, you say I give you say 100 euros for a month, just arbit numbers. Now, depending upon your pattern of behavior, you repay your loans in time, you spend wisely, and all that. You get your dole or whatever you call it, your allowance regularly, and then you build your credit history and you become a part of the financial system. Now think of it how it can be replicated in India. The farmer is the worst affected when it comes to getting finance. He's at the mercy of, we've seen it all in Bollywood movies, at the behest of wicked landlords. Now imagine if on his phone he could get a loan as simple as clicking a button. Okay, it could be a small ticket loan. Their needs are not much. All he needs is seeds, right? He gets 1,000 rupee loan, which is not much for people like you and me. So you and I can directly interact with this farmer. I can lend it to the farmer. I'm making it very, very simple. Chandresh, don't hold
No,
me to it. But this is
definitely.
at a very, very brass level. That's what happens. I lend to, of course, a smart contract, and the smart contract gives it out to the farmer, and the farmer repays me back. And what happens is that it can dissipate to the brass tracks, to actually the hinterland, and transform lives literally. So your sabzi wala who's been badly hit by COVID, all he needs is 200 rupees to buy fruit to sell it to you at 250 rupees. Now, all of us know how badly businesses have been affected. Now, these are the type of people who can be, can get uplifted by DeFi. So just trying to get some perspective. It's not a concept that is very high level, and where only VC funding and LP level funding and all happens, but it can transform lives at, at the grassroots level.
I want to talk about both of that. I want to talk about the VC funding and the innovation aspect, and the inclusiveness that this can come in. But let me start with the first one. There's already a lot of innovation coming in the Ethereum space. Chandresh, how's the Indian startup community scaling up on the DeFi front?
Yeah, you can see the example. Like I am sitting here, I am doing an interview on with you guys. Look at how well WazirX has done recently. CoinDCX raised funding at a 1.1 billion valuation, and but maybe this question is very close to my heart. Reason being, I also started from a very basic level. Like I didn't have so much understanding, and like there were a lot of events happening like ETH India. These are the hackathons where people like me who are engineers and building stuff, they can go interact with a community, build a community overall period of time. So I have seen that this things has helped a lot, and we as a we as the torch bearers of the ecosystem, like Polygon is doing a great work. We have recently launched a $1 million grant for all the builders who are building on top of our ecosystem. There is one Indian team which has already received a grant from our side. We are seeing like the major ecosystem players, like take example of Solana. They are recently doing a hackathon in India, and a lot of these BCs after success of Polygon, success of Uniland, what we are seeing that Indian builders are getting that attention and getting that respect which was always needed. So I feel like from my perspective, my point of view from a developer ecosystem and opportunity to build something which you want, there are so many opportunities being showered on all the new people who are joining the ecosystem from India.
Chandresh, Raj, as a startup yourself, this is an exciting place to be in.
It's a fabulous place to be in, and I look at it more from a consumer point of view. Lots of people, lots of excitement, but that always happens. It's a gold rush happening out here, so I've seen it so many times. I've spent 20 years in the dot-com space, where every 6 months there's a new cycle, there's a new hot trend. Now it's the turn for DeFi and cryptocurrencies, space in the sun, but there's a lot of action happening on the other side as well. But if you look at it more from why is this happening in India? Because there are so many people in India, right? If what has happened is that we've always heard 1 billion people, 400 million middle class, and so on and so forth. But what Jio has done is that it's democratized a mobile connection. It's brought things so cheap that anything can go viral. Anything you can build businesses from scratch, and you have a reliable, fast internet connection with you. Now, what when people come into the crypto space, in all honesty, it is because they hear about Bitcoin and they see these numbers that Bitcoin is going through the roof, and then they come into Ethereum, and then they go down the altcoin scale. And once you discover the space, the more you get in, it's a rabbit hole. So let me be frank. I just got into DeFi just 1 year ago. And I think I'm not that old in terms of the crypto space, but DeFi, takes getting used to. So once it's an evolution of a person. You come to Bitcoin, you come to Ethereum, you come to all the other coins, and then finally it hits you. You go into DeFi. Then you go to you go to SushiSwap, and then you go to SushiSwap is different. You go to PancakeSwap. You discover Binance Smart Chain. So it's a gradual. It's going from KG to actually we are somewhere in the middle level now, and then eventually all of us will become graduate in the school of cryptocurrencies, or this entire world of crypto, as I could say it. But lots and lots of excitement, because all said and done, what do people want? They want cheap, they want good profits, on their investments, which is what crypto is so far, looking like giving. They also want cheap loans, which is what DeFi does. They want loans when available, which is what DeFi does. So the next space is what? It is going to be cheap insurance. So the scope for DeFi is absolutely mass market, and we are a market primed for that.
That's interesting when you talk about graduating. Like, it's a rabbit hole for all practical purposes. You start from,
Correct.
from a cryptocurrency, and then you graduate towards DeFi. But I want to go even further to a kindergarten and a pre-kindergarten level kind of a question, saying that India has a different problem, right? And that is, financial inclusion, inclusivity. Now, these are words that I've been hearing in the business news space for the last 15 years as to how do you bank the unbanked, especially in a place like India. How do you look, or, what can we expect to see DeFi becoming more inclusive? Because, like I said, it is a complex concept. It's a concept that's new. There is no regulation or sort around it. So how does maturity come in this space? What do you anticipate?
So I'll go first, and then Chandresh, you can go. So
Yeah.
this is natural, actually. Innovation always precedes regulation, because what happens is that people like Chandresh, people like Nishchal, they think of ideas, or they get inspired by ideas which happen in the West, especially in the tech space, and they come and they implement it here through the grime and dirt and hardships of India, and they finally establish, a product company, which both our companies are. So, and then what happens is that the entire rigmarole of formalization of the industry happens, because frankly speaking, nobody in the government even could see that this is happening, right? Even in the, if you look at, let's step back, in the IT, when the IT revolution happened, people couldn't understand the concept that Infosys and TCS were beaming out software through satellite dishes somewhere across to the US, right? So
Raj, on that line, right, there's a small joke that says that Bangalore's IT revolution happened because nobody knew what the hell was happening.
exactly. No, exactly, and there are so many jokes. Government didn't know how to charge excise, right? Because they're used to CDs. And when you saw, and one of the things that Narayan Murthy had to do is, after beaming the contract, the code to the US, he had to actually ship out a CD. So, to prove that something has been shipped out. So there are many stories. So, but look how immensely India has benefited out of this entire IT revolution. You and I are products of that space. It has uplifted so many. Bangalore as a city has grown because of that. So it is exactly, we are in that stage now. Then you had the internet transformed a whole slew of lives. You had the Flipkarts of the world, the Naukris of the world, and so on and so forth. So every century, every decade, you have something big happening, and this is the time for DeFi. So but to answer your question, what happens is that it's just normal. So once they understand it, internet is also can be used for porn. Internet can be used to plot mal actions, but you don't ban the internet, right? That's the easiest example to give. Internet can be used to transfer money. Internet can be used to, you don't know what the internet can be used for, but you don't ban the internet. So similarly, this is the internet of money. And for the record, the blockchain is the most transparent ledger system in the history of mankind. Okay, so people who say that it is, it's a mysterious black hole and it cannot be tracked and all that. Sorry, why did there was a hack just day before yesterday where $700 million was stolen out of a DeFi protocol. Chandresh knows about it, and I'm assuming you also know about it. The poor fellow had to return it because everybody was observing his address, with a hawk's eye. It's not out of the goodness of his heart. No one returns $700 million, $600 million, just because they felt like it. There's no altruistic people out here. So the amount of scrutiny that a public ledger undergoes is unprecedented. Okay, it is, and a conventional banking system is far more shrouded in secrecy than a blockchain is. So this is the best thing that has happened, in the financial system in a long time, and all of us are tremendously excited by it.
Chandresh?
Yeah, so I am a big follower of Naval. Actually, he says that be impatient with your actions and patient with your results. So that is what we are doing. Like we are building $1 billion worth of companies in India, and we are just building different tools which are required to overall take this complete ecosystem. We are providing all the support which is needed for the builders who are coming out of India. So we are just getting ready with everything, and India will be at a very very higher position, with the startups like Polygon, Uniland, Frontier, WazirX, CoinDCX, and so many, that we have already made it marks, and it is just impossible to ignore the kind of growth which the complete ecosystem has done. And over the period of time, I will feel like I told you, like we are being impatient with our action in terms of gaining the traction and building everything, and we are patient, and we know that right thing will happen. Yeah.
Well, fans of Naval all over here in Business Insider. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
just one final question to to wrap up our chat, gentlemen. There's an inside joke in Business Insider saying that Indians, investment habits are so conservative. Like you have an FD for an FD. Given such a situation, how do you see crypto and newer forms of investment fitting into the scheme of habits, and what's the general time frame you guys have given yourself to say that, okay, it's going to take me so much time before we're going to get acceptance of scale? What are your general thoughts there?
Chandresh, you want to go, because I've been hogging. I've been going for a lot of times.
No worries, no worries. I am actually, hearing totally different perspective this time. Like, and I am realized that whatever you are seeing is actually right. We just, don't relate it to that level. We are so focused on tech and, all around that. So, yeah, you please go ahead first.
Yeah, so just yesterday, I think Priyanka from my team just released a story saying that the growth, the most rapid growth is happening in towns like Sonipat. You know, 2000% growth in terms of women users, and this is crypto. Okay, this is the most evolved product from tier 2 and tier 3 towns.
It's interesting you say that about women investing, because there's already this huge amount of articles that we read about how women in crypto is outnumbering men in crypto in certain pockets, and there are people who are asking to be paid in crypto as well. That's of course extremely mature, but sorry, back to
No,
you.
so if you look at it, it's not all that surprising, right? In all, in our houses, who's the finance minister? When we are young, it's the mother. And as once we get married, it's literally our wives, right? All we do is that they literally map out the house expenses. It takes that headache out of our way. So it's a very natural extension for a lot of people. But the caveat is that the investment environment in India was dominated by males, and it still is to a large extent. But what is happening is that this entire revolution where everyone is empowered, you get access to information, right? And you don't want to miss out on a good thing. The fear of missing out is still there, but women are getting into the space really very aggressively, and we are seeing a lot of growth in tier 2 and tier 3 towns.
Chandresh, crypto, DeFi, Indian habits, your timeline and your thoughts on how we can.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this generation. I'm talking to the people who are in this generation. We have got the opportunity where we have got the same playing level field, and I feel like next time India can sit on top of the technological evolution which is happening, because we have the manpower, we have the complete manpower who is so much. Into computer science and all that stuff currently. So we have that opportunity. Obviously, blockchain is not the only thing which is going to do this thing. It could be content, like I am seeing Samay Rena and Tanmay, but these guys are doing a lot of content about crypto and everything. So I feel like this generation is already identifying the opportunities which are there on we can become leaders in content. We can become leaders into this different technologies. Could be AI or could be anything. So this is the opportunity, I feel like. And in terms of the habits of investing, I feel like Indian people invest a lot of in mutual funds and this stuff. So crypto is definitely volatile, but yeah, it can be considered as one of hedging. Like we have, my parents always tells me of for buying gold and everything. So they do it for hedge, I guess. So this is also a hedge where you can depend on. It could become. It has already become a money of internet. So this could go really big. So much innovation happening. So yeah, we have the opportunity to take this and be the difference maker. Yeah.
Lovely.
So just one last thing, don't, it's, a lot of people get into crypto because they think you can become rich overnight. But
Mhm.
the entire there are no shortcuts. So, all of us know that, this is, it's a truism because it's true, right? So the idea is that no one who's invested in this space for 4 years or more has lost money. Okay, which is not what can be said about a lot of financial instruments. So if you're getting into the space, look at 4 to 6 years. uh, it's like the old Hero Honda ad: fill it, shut it, forget it. And hopefully when you come out on the other side after the highs and lows of the a typical crypto day, you will come out smiling.
That's a 25-year-old advertisement you're referring to. And for the
I'm an
last,
old man, Ashwin.
no, but I must tell you, for the last 20 years, ever since business television came out, right? Every financial advisor has probably told their clients, sir, up ticker ko mat dekho. They say essentially go long. Don't start looking at.
Absolutely, bilkul, bilkul, bilkul.
On that note, it's Independence Day, and it's been great to understand, or rather, really just scratch the surface to see what is decentralized finance all about, and how you have independence of sort that you can talk about, and women in cryptocurrency, innovation on the decentralized finance space is topics that will definitely reach out to both of you to have longer, in-depth discussions with, because those are, like I said, fantastic things to talk about and help people understand what it is doing, because most often we're just stuck to this little myopic world of news that we consume on topics that just interest us, and we often miss out the bigger thing that's happening, like DeFi, right? We talk about cryptocurrency all the while, but little do you know that below the world of cryptocurrency there's something that's growing that's far bigger. And in Business Insider, we're hopefully going to bring you all the good things that are happening, all the innovations that are coming out there, so that you can get your financial independence and you can plan your finances better as well. On that note, Raj, Chandresh, gentlemen, it's been a delight to have you with us, and take care and stay safe.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Really enjoyed it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.